Joining me with a more in-depth look at the conclusions of the Chilcot report is Raed Jarrar. He's an Arab-American political advocate and blogger. Raed, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Is anyone really surprised by the conclusion or the findings of the Chilcot report? Flawed intelligence, many failures. What is the big surprise here? Everyone has known this for many, many years.
Yeah, correct. I don't think we needed 7 years and 2 million words to tell us that things went wrong during the invasion. The surprise, though, is the lack of accountability. And the fact that former Prime Minister Tony Blair can come out to TV cameras now and say, these were mistakes, I admit them, but I did them with good faith. And there is zero price that he is paying. There is no one really calling for putting him in jail because of the crimes that were committed in Iraq. I think that is where the surprise came after all of those years, because many people expected that after years of waiting, that there will be serious systems of accountability to hold those behind the decisions accountable, put them in jail, or at least take them to court, but none of this is happening.
So not so much about the findings themselves, but the reaction of Tony Blair is what you're talking about.
Correct. I think the reaction and the fact that he is not being held liable to these crimes. You know, I don't think that what happened is a mistake. Describing the Iraq war as a mistake is an understatement. There are millions of Iraqis who have been killed and injured and displaced, and many people would describe these actions as deliberate crimes, and someone has to pay a price for these crimes.
And let me ask you about that, but let me talk about a little bit more about what he said. Tony Blair, he apologized to the families of those killed in the 2003 Iraq war. He said the decision to commit troops was the most agonizing and momentous decision as Prime Minister. He said there were no lies, intelligence was not falsified, and the decision was made in good faith. He also said he did what he thought was the right thing at the time. He still believed Iraq was better off without Saddam Hussein. Your thoughts on that, Raed?
I think the apology came to the families of the British soldiers who died, and I have not heard an apology to the millions of Iraqis who have been suffering until this day. It's not in the past. Iraq is still paying a price for the actions of Prime Minister Tony Blair and other people in his administration. My response to what he's saying is that I don't think anyone outside of these small circles claims that Iraq today is in a better place than it used to be before 2003. Iraq is a nation under distress. It's a nation where death and destruction has claimed the lives of millions and destroyed national unity. And claiming that those actions took place with good faith should not pass the laugh test at this stage.
So what do you think should happen next? What should be the aftermath of this report? And it sounds like you think Tony Blair should face some kind of justice or prosecution.
Correct. And it's not only me. I think many people would like to see justice. Justice and accountability are things that are missing from the debate now. And this justice and accountability shouldn't only include the top of the pyramid like Tony Blair, but also people who were taking decisions during the invasion, or even British soldiers who committed war crimes and violations of human rights during the occupation. So far, we haven't seen any of these things happen.
Do you think anyone in Iraq cares about this report?
Yes, people care about it because they want to be vindicated. I think people who lost family members, whether they are in Iraq or abroad, people who lost their homes, whether they are in Iraq or abroad. This is an important historic document. And it doesn't only mean that Iraqis should be compensated to what happened during the invasion. Iraqis are still paying a price until this day. We saw what happened in Baghdad this week, where one of the largest explosions since 2003 happened. So Iraqis are still paying a price for those crimes that happened during Tony Blair's time.
Raed Jarrar, thank you so much for joining us.